So my buddy called me up and said, "Hey, I got some whiskey for you," and he gave me 6. I don't know what they are. Are they rare?
Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Okay.
So I chose these 6 specifically because they are all over the place in price. They're
Okay.
all over the place in rarity. They're all over the place in alcohol content. You're going to be picking out a lot of the same notes in each of them. So they've got their similarities, their differences. It's going to be fun. I'm really interested to see what you think about these and how much you think you would pay for each dram of this.
Well, this will do a couple of things. It'll expose my terrible palate. Also, he's my Scotch father. He knows way more about whiskey than I do. He should probably have a channel instead of me, but sorry, it's me. So, which one's number 1?
Goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, so basically, I don't know what's in these glasses, and I got these black Glencairns for this purpose where you can't even see the colors of these. It's for blind tasting. So I'm gonna sip these, and I'm just gonna give them my honest thoughts. Try and not sound like a moron, which is hard for me to do. All right, well. Is there some fruit in there?
I think so.
A little fruity. I like that.
I will have to be coy with my responses because I want to make sure that I don't give too much away.
Again, I'm an idiot. You've had way more whiskeys than I've had.
So I will say, yes, you're definitely going to get some fruit on this one. It's very much one of those whiskeys that's delicious, that is also approachable.
It's a little bite on there too. It smells a little hot, like ethanol wise.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Got some medicinal, but it's not bad. I mean, I just that one sniff. Okay, let's give us a little taste then. Ooh, that is spicy. Ooh, that woke me up a little bit.
Well, the other thing that your viewers should know, you haven't had any whiskey today. Your palate's
I have not.
Your palate's clean, but at the same time, it needs to wake up a little bit. So these first couple of sips, we're not doing the whiskey a disservice or anything, but usually if I'm going to review a whiskey, I actually drink something else first. Maybe 1 glass of red wine or a very, very small dram of something that I consider a daily drinker, like an Old Forester 100 proof bourbon or something.
Call that a warm up.
Exactly. You have a warm up round.
It's like stretching before you run.
Exactly. So
while you were sitting there talking, I don't want to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
that finish kind of mellowed out. It's some like tobacco notes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very hot initial taste, but again, probably because I haven't warmed up my palate. But
Yeah.
so he's getting us through this journey. So it's all of his rules. So what do you want me to do?
For that, we can put a little more in to each glass if you want a second try or a second taste or something. So each of these is only about half an ounce. So we're talking less than half a shot per taste. The goal is obviously not to get you drunk. You do that on your channel enough. But at the same time, some of these whiskeys are, some of them are kind of expensive.
Ooh.
So, we're not just going to be...
Well, well then I think I'll just finish, or I'll probably take enough for 2 sips on these, and then...
And if we want to refill later, we can absolutely do that. We're not here to be stingy.
I'm going to want to refill on the most expensive one, probably.
Not shocked at all.
Yeah, that is pretty bitey, but I like the finish a lot more.
Okay.
It's mellowing out. Because, again, I like the finishes where it sits on your tongue and you don't feel the need to have to keep sipping. It just sits there for a while and you're just like, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I would 100% agree with that.
So, okay, number 2.
And again, for your viewers, we're not doing any palate cleansing between these. We're not snooty enough to do that.
I can't give the notes on the back of the box that says, that a blueberry blossomed on a oak log next to the babbling brook. I don't get those notes. You get
I have
a
a running joke with another whiskey buddy of mine where they basically just have tasting notes on a dartboard that they just throw it at. And
this one has some subtle fruit notes, but I'm not getting that medicinal kind of ethanol
okay.
that I got on the first one.
Oh, and if I look over here and you hear a little paper, I have the list.
And he's checking it twice.
Oh, well, real quickly, before you dive into that one, how much would you pay for that first one for a bottle?
Max?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like $60 max probably on that.
Okay.
It can't be worse than Liz Morey. So that's my running joke. Watch my first review. I was drunk when I did it.
All right, so whiskey number 2 here.
Ooh, that's lighter.
Mm-hmm.
A little floral. That was a lot better, I think, than the other one, at least in my opinion.
Okay.
I definitely enjoyed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a meadow of flowers.
We're gonna turn you into a bougie Scotch drinker. Yeah.
I'm gonna get poetic.
Yeah.
But there's some subtle fruitiness, maybe some citrus in there as well that I'm getting. It is very faint. The overall floral is sitting there nice.
Okay. How old do you think it was?
Do it again. Hold on. I gotta cheat. It's gotta be. Can I give you a range?
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it's over 12.
Okay.
Less than 20.
So between 12 and 20 years old.
Let's go. Let's just go with 15.
15 years old. Okay.
Am I right?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, fine. What a dick. Number 3. It's got some deep. This is some deepness I can smell here.
I have so many things I want to say about each of these as you're doing it, and
We can do it. We'll reveal them all later at the end of this.
Some of these I'm very excited about, and I'm really having to
Yeah, he's been talking to me about this for like a month. So,
what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I want to say really oaky.
Okay.
That's what I want to say.
Okay, so you're getting like the woody influence. Of the barrel.
Whether it's correct or not is a different story.
Okay.
But it's definitely darker than this one, and not as bitey as this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's probably just a darker whiskey, but we'll see. That is incredibly smooth. Wow, that's really good though. Whoa. So I'm gonna say it's darker than this.
When you say darker, do you mean like the overall color? I think I understand what you mean.
Maybe older influence, maybe because it soaked up more of the barrel or something like that.
So not necessarily the color or the barrel influence, more just like the color of the palate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure I understand.
Yeah, this is.
And yes, I would agree with that.
I think
I would absolutely agree with that.
This is the best one yet.
Okay, that's interesting. Like, I appreciate this whiskey too much to pull a fast one on or anything like that. If I say that's interesting, I genuinely mean that's actually interesting. Like,
you literally can't see the colors in here. Like, I'm gonna tilt it. You can't see a damn thing in here.
No, you really can't. I can attest to that. Like, you can't tell if this is basically everything from pure grain alcohol to something that was aged in Oloroso sherry for like 10 years. You can't.
I think real quick, before I forget what they taste like, I'm gonna give these ratings real quick. Just ratings based on I have no idea what they are. I don't know where they're from. I don't know how much they are because a lot of my ratings take value of price into account. So I'd probably give this guy a 2.5. This guy gets a 4.
Wow. Is that the highest so far?
It is the highest so far, but again, if it's like $500, that bitch goes down to like a 3. But
okay.
Yeah. And then I think he's probably just right in the middle, like a 3. Not mess up the middle, huh? But like 3 is a decent score. So
okay.
Highness one. Yeah. 2.5, 3, 4. Yeah.
That is so interesting to me.
This could all change quickly. Who knows? When I find out how much they cost.
It'll change, but I have a feeling it'll surprise you as well.
Okay.
Whiskey number 4.
Ooh.
I'm very curious about this one. I know I don't want to give too much away, but
there's some salinity, some like brininess in this one.
Okay.
I'm getting a little bit of if you're like smelling like the seawater, seriously, like.
Okay.
Give me some brine. Let's see what this thing. Damn it. Should have not done the 4 yet.
You could do multiple 4s.
Damn. I'm taking this home, whatever this is. That was very pleasant. There's some hints of sweetness on there.
Okay.
Which is nice because of the briny nose. You know, if you ever put like, M&Ms on popcorn, really good.
Or like a caramel corn sort of.
Caramel corn. Ugh.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you're in the minority on that one, dude.
It's fine. Yeah, that. Wow. Hold on. There is chocolate in this. There is some nice. Was this like aged in some port casks?
You'll find out.
Or some Oloroso, because.
You'll find out.
Whoa, me. All right. So because I gave this an early 4, that means this has to be like a 4.5. This is phenomenal.
And as he's going through these, one of the things I wanted to mention,
Whoa.
that reaction is exactly the reason why, or one of the reasons why I wanted to do this tasting.
That's awesome.
I love doing that.
I haven't had like really nice whiskeys unless I buy it. So because he's been getting whiskey for the past like 20 years, I mooch off him. And it's usually worth it.
All right, number 5.
Oh man. Mambo number 5.
This is another very interesting one, I think.
I'm not sure what that was, but that was different. There's some sweetness in that nose. Some like medicinal sweetness. There's a little bit of bite in there, just a tiny bit.
By the way, as he's doing this, my mouth is like watering because I know what each of these tastes like, and I'm just like dying to pour myself a dram and join in, which I will soon.
There's a lot of stuff going on with that. Right when the initial boom, sweet. But then there's some grains in there. I'm getting some graininess.
Those cereal notes?
Yeah, a little bit of cereal grain.
Okay.
So, kind of like some mini wheats. Who knows? Frosted because I said sweet.
As you're taking a sip, I'm curious to know what sort of fruits. And again, like you said, you're learning.
I've never tasted that at all in a whiskey ever. Okay, there's some pepper on that. I'm getting some like pepper pops, and it's in different spots in my mouth.
That's actually, so as much as you give yourself crap for not knowing much, that's a really good note. Like that shows that your palate is evolving.
Yay! So from like a Pokemon standpoint, I'm going from 1 to 2.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I'm like Charmeleon now?
Maybe.
Okay. Actually, wait, Bulbasaur. No, Ivysaur. Yeah, there's that's a really interesting palate though.
It is.
I don't, because so if I'm smoking cigars,
Mm-hmm.
I don't normally like pepper in my cigars, but it's different for whiskey.
Yeah.
It helps. I know. I think it helps flavor the other parts of it, and it makes the finish sit longer.
It can, absolutely. Like that's not a bad way to describe it. Absolutely.
And there's actually like, oh my god, there's actually a nice oily mouthfeel.
Like a viscosity.
I'm getting on that too. It's like coating the mouth well. I've never talked about that in my reviews. Probably should start doing that. But this one specifically was very obvious in how it helps coat your mouth. That is, I'm gonna call it. It's a strong whiskey.
Okay.
Probably in alcohol, but definitely in like kind of like punches your tongue a little bit, but not in a bad way.
As far as price for a bottle, what would you guess?
$2.15.
Okay. And how old do you think that one is? Again, you can do a range.
I'm gonna say that's probably a 10-year.
Okay. Okay.
So also, did I rate this one?
You said that one was going to be like 4.5.
It's got to be a 4.5. I'm gonna give this guy. Wow, this guy's just crushing my tongue right now. Seriously, this thing is crazy.
In all seriousness, that's one of the reasons why I got that specific bottle. Not for this tasting, but I was at a tasting when I got a chance to try that, and I was like, that's coming home.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm going to give this a 3.5 just because of the interesting palate this gave me. I think gives an extra half because I was just going to give it a 3. I've never had that palate on a whiskey before, and it's awesome. So thank you.
Absolutely.
So
all right, last one.
Number 6. Ooh. Oh, baby. This could be the 5. Who knows?
I do like the nose on this one
This
a
is a
lot.
really nice nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really nice nose. That's a pretty sweet nose. Damn. You can just like make love to this with your nose.
So one of the things that I enjoy when I'm doing my whiskey drinking at home is once in a while had a really rough day or birthday, or I'm just, you know what, I'm going to treat myself.
Treat yourself.
Is I'll allow myself to pour something a little extra nice and have a session dram where I take, you know, maybe 2 ounces of that whiskey and then nurse it for like literally hour and a half, 2 hours. Like make it really last, because when that's happening, it's getting more oxygen exposure as you take sips. You know, your mouth is interacting with it. If you put water into it, that changes it as well. And so over time, you get to see the evolution of that whiskey in the glass. And it is really, really cool to see how the whiskey can change. And
Dude,
this,
what a passionate guy. Fucking
This
round of applause for the passion. Seriously, that was awesome. That was poetic as fuck. And we're going to call that whiskey edging.
can we
An
please not
hour and a half to 2 hours.
Can we please not call it that? All right, dive in. Let's do this. I'm really curious and anxious to do the reveal here.
Oh, man. That popped up in my nose on that one a little bit.
What did the alcohol?
Some note popped up in there.
Oh, okay.
I just swallowed it wrong.
You swallowed it wrong.
Yeah, I swallowed wrong. There's some licorice in there.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I don't like licorice, but I don't hate it in this. So,
Like an aniseed, star anise sort of thing?
yeah, like the black licorice, like
Okay.
not like a Twizzler, but like
No,
black
I know what you mean,
licorice
yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
yeah, like anise, yeah. Yeah, that's what I got out of that first one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All will be revealed very shortly here.
In the back of the bottle, so like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Okay. That's warm.
Mm-hmm.
That's warm though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That'll keep you warm around on a cold night. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. This guy, that's either black licorice or just something else. I'm gonna give this guy a 4.
Okay.
Just because, even though this was so drastically different than anything I've had before, I think the pepperness kind of took away from something. Even though I don't hate the pepper, but this one's sitting much more mellow on me, and it lasts a while.
The finish on that one
I
is
put
very nice.
finishes almost higher than everything else, because it's really like when you sip something, what's the last thing you remember? The finish. Like after I sip it, I'm not gonna remember what it tasted like off the first sip or the nose or whatever, but how it's sitting there, and that's sitting very nice.
No, you're not wrong. In my opinion, one of the marks of a truly great whiskey is having a finish that both lasts a long time and then maintains the complexity that you know when the whiskey was still in your mouth. Because like if you have a whiskey that tastes great but then falls flat as soon as you swallow the whiskey, it's so disappointing. Whereas for that one, you can take a sip and you can still taste it on your tongue and pick out notes for like 30 seconds, almost a minute after.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2, where the whiskeys get revealed. And I could have put them in this video, but it would have been like 45 minutes. There's a lot of good information in that video, so I didn't want to cut a lot of stuff out. There's a good discussion of each whiskey there, so I wanted to give them the justice that they deserve on that. So stay tuned on Thursday. You'll get part 2 there. Thanks for watching this one. If you like this, you can like it, subscribe. See you on Thursday.